The Cabinet clears the Women Reservation Bill, say sources. First on NDTV, the Cabinet's nod for the Women's Reservation Bill. The PM chairs a key Cabinet meeting amid special session, and sources confirm to NDTV that the Women's Reservation Bill has gotten the Cabinet's nod. And countdown to the historic shift to the new parliament on Tuesday. The last joint sitting in Central Hall. Senior leaders invited to speak. The Prime Minister will be leading grand celebrations as we shift to the new parliament. The Prime Minister will be marching with the constitution in his hand from the old building to the new one. And setback for the India bloc. The CPI opts out of the India Alliance's Coordination Committee. A left blow to the India unity, as now there will be no tie-ups in West Bengal and Kerala. This as the CPI refrains from seat sharing in the two states. The big question, can the India bloc iron out differences in other states? And down south, the AIADMK says no alliance with the BJP as of now, will take a call closer to the elections. The AIADMK ends its alliance over BJP chief Annamalai's Annadurai remarks. Well, top BJP sources tell NDTV that it will all be sorted. And concerning news coming in from Gujarat, flood-like situation reported in parts of the state. Nearly 10,000 people are evacuated from low-lying areas. For the next couple of days, a heavy rain alert for parts of Gujarat. Well, the big story we are tracking on NDTV, the Cabinet has cleared the Women's Reservation Bill. The Prime Minister chaired the Cabinet meeting in the evening, and now the Cabinet has given its nod for the Women's Reservation Bill. So we are a step closer to the Women's Reservation Bill actually becoming a reality. It has had a long struggle. It was first introduced back in 1996 by the Devagowda government, and then in 2008 it was reintroduced by the UPA, and it was passed in the Rajya Sabha back in 2010, and it has been pending in the Lok Sabha for the past 13 years. Many leaders across party lines, across ideologies have come together in support of the Women's Reservation Bill, and now the Cabinet, as per sources, have finally cleared the Women's Reservation Bill, and it's likely to be introduced in Parliament in the special session. In fact, the Prime Minister had hinted that there are going to be historic decisions taken in the special session, and it's going to be extremely important politically. And now this game changer, as the Women's Reservation Bill is likely to be introduced. It's not likely to be introduced on Tuesday, given the fact that it's going to be a short session and more of a ceremonial shift from the old Parliament to the new Parliament. But a huge milestone and a historic one, given the fact that the Cabinet has cleared the Women's Reservation Bill. In what form and what shape is something that remains to be seen. But now we are a step closer to the Women's Reservation Bill becoming reality. And Sunil Prabhu, in fact, got us this big breaking story, this big scoop on the Cabinet meeting. He has more details on what next.
It's a huge historic decision, not only to get that bipartisan support at that all-party meeting for a consensus on passing the Women's Reservation Bill, to getting it passed in his cabinet, and to really keep up with the times. India in the 21st century, as he's saying, if it has to, the 21st century has to be India's century. What better way to start off in the new parliament than to give 33% to women and clear it in the Lok Sabha. This has been pending since 2010 when that ahead of the International Women's Day, the Cabinet had passed that historic decision in the Rajya Sabha. At that time, Sonia Gandhi being the pivot. This time round, Prime Minister Narendra Modi taking the credit and going to pass this bill, hopefully. And we'll have to wait for the final details of that 33%. How does it work for quota under quota? Is it just a plain as it was in the present, as it was in the Rajya Sabha? What we have been made to understand is it's in the same form. And of course, the other final details about delimitation and others. And then, and as I've been saying, it needs to be ratified by at least 50% of the state assemblies in the country. And then only does it become an act. But truly a historic decision, a path-breaking legislation, an important day, as you said, for women leaders, for women movements, for women all over the country who have been striving and struggling for their voice to be heard. This will be a great opportunity. And it's just not about women's issues. They'll be able to speak on every particular sphere. And that's the most important point. So for those who criticize, women's representation as them becoming only women specific, not necessary. Women have taken a huge step forward in various roles, and they will definitely be able to play an important aspect in terms of how they go about in every sphere. As we speak, the Congress party, which is the principal opposition party, has also welcomed and has been said it's been the long-standing demand for the women's reservation bill. So you will get that bipartisan support for a two-third, passage in this session of Parliament. Having said that, there are definitely issues, as we've been saying. One, of course, is it virtually means for those who are signing off the 543 that one-third of them might not get their seats back again. How are they going to be protected? That's something that we'll have to wait and see the finer details. But it is definitely, as I've been saying earlier on air, a virtual death sentence for them in terms of their political career. And how is that going to be looked after? But this is definitely a master stroke by Prime Minister Narendra Modi to get that go-ahead of his cabinet to work with various other people to understand that this is a game changer and this could help him ahead of the state as well as national elections, which are due this year and later next year, to really set the agenda for people to understand that the BJP has fulfilled its promise of 33% reservation for women in state assembly as well as in parliament.
So what a masterstroke indeed, being seen as a political game changer. The timing cannot be ignored. We're just months away from crucial state elections. So, of course, the cabinet clearing the women's reservation bill is a huge deal politically. But moving now, Tuesday is going to be a very important day. The second day of the special session of Parliament is going to be important in many respects. Of course, we'll see the historic transition from the old Parliament to the new one. The Prime Minister will be leading the show. He will, in fact, be marching from the old Parliament to the new one, holding the constitution in his hand. MPs will be following him. In fact, we also have special invitees, including Manmohan Singh, Shibu Soren, Menaka Gandhi. All of them have been invited to speak in that special function that is being organized for the historic shift. Himanshu has more details.
On the very first day of the special session of Parliament, Prime Minister Narendra Modi chaired an important meeting of the Union Cabinet. Usually when Parliament is in session, the Cabinet meetings normally revolve around new legislative proposals that government intends to bring during the session. But at the moment, there is no official communication from Government of India as to whether government intends to bring any new legislative proposal during the ongoing special session of Parliament, and which is different than what the government has already announced. After this cabinet meeting, some senior cabinet ministers went to Central Hall to oversee a grand function that has been planned tomorrow at 11 a.m. in the old Parliament building, and this is perhaps the last official function that will be held in the old Parliament building. Senior government sources have told us that three prominent MPs, the senior most MPs, have been specially invited for this function. Manmohan Singh, who is the senior most MP in Raj Sabha, Menaka Gandhi, who has the highest tenure as Lok Sabha MP in Lok Sabha, and Shibu Soren. If we combine his tenure in both Lok Sabha and Raj Sabha, he has the longest tenure. And all these three special invitees, the senior most MPs in the present Lok Sabha and Raj Sabha, have been told that they can address this special gathering for 5 minutes. In Parliament with my camera colleague Prem Singh, Himanshu Shekhar for NDTV.
So, well, truly all eyes on that historic transition from the old Parliament to the new one. And this is going to be the second day of the special session of Parliament. In fact, on day one as well, there was heated political exchange in the Parliament. The Prime Minister made some very important political points in his speech. He talked about his personal journey from railway platforms to the floor of the House and how it's been an absolutely incredible journey for the old Parliament as well in the past 75 years. He talked about Nehru and Atal Bihari Vajpayee in his speech as well. And also, on that last day in the old Parliament, we had a poetic touch by Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge and Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary's Babs and Owaisi's impassioned speech as well. Here are the highlights of day one of the special session.
इस 75 वर्ष की हमारी यात्रा ने अनेक लोकतांत्रिक परंपराओं और प्रक्रियाओं का उत्तम से उत्तम सृजन किया है और इस सदन में रहे हुए सबने उसमें सक्रियता से योगदान भी दिया है और साक्षी भाव से उसको देखा भी है। हम भले नए भवन में जाएंगे, लेकिन पुराना भवन भी, ये भवन भी आने वाली पीढ़ियों को हमेशा हमेशा प्रेरणा देता रहेगा।
अटल जी ने अपने कार्यकाल में 21 बार बयान दिया। अटल जी ने अपने कार्यकाल में 21 बार बयान दिया 6 साल में। डॉक्टर मनमोहन सिंह जी ने 30 बार बयान दिया। केवल हमारे मौजूदा पीएम साहब ही ऐसे हैं जो सदन में 9 सालों में कस्टमरी बयानों को छोड़ के केवल 2 बार बोले। ये डेमोक्रेसी है साहब। अब इसको क्या कैसा सुधारते हैं, मैं आपको ही छोड़ देता हूँ।
चाहे CAA का प्रोटेस्ट हो, चाहे किसानों का प्रोटेस्ट हो, चाहे शेड्यूल कास्ट के रिजर्वेशन का मसला हो, इसीलिए मैं आपके जरिए हम तमाम को मुतनब्बे करना चाह रहा हूं कि अगर हम रोडों पर इंसाफ करना जनता को अलाउ करेंगे, इस ऐवान को दिल नहीं रखेंगे, तो याद रखिए ये हमारी पार्लियामानी जमहूरियत के लिए बड़ा नुकसानदेह साबित होगा। और नुकसानदेह इसलिए भी होगा कि क्या हमको अपने ख्वाब गफलत से, अपनी जिम्मेदारियों से निभाने के लिए क्या भगत सिंह को आके बैठना पड़ेगा ऊपर?
And well, the other big political headline, a bit of a setback for the India bloc. The CPIM has opted out of the India Coordination Committee and also has reportedly decided against alliances in West Bengal and Kerala, the 2 states where it's got its main rivals, which are India parties, and those are Trinamool Congress and the Congress in Kerala. Well, it has also decided not to name any representative for the coordination meetings, but many have seen this as inevitable. The larger question is, will the India Alliance actually be able to iron out its differences in other states or not? Here's a report on the big development.
The opposition alliance that looks to take on the BJP's juggernaut in 2024 has suffered a jolt. Some of the expected contradictions within the alliance have now begun to show. The CPIM has said no to any alliance in Kerala and West Bengal, where it is in direct confrontation with the Congress and the Trinamool Congress.
The CPM Politburo, in a meeting held over the weekend, has decided that any organizational structure within the India bloc would be an impediment in the expansion of India group of parties. The CPM has decided that it won't take part in any of the India bloc organizational committee meetings, and the CPM Politburo member Nilotpal Basu has categorically said that any electoral adjustment at the national level between and among India group of parties is not possible, and so CPM will not have any tie-up with Trinamool Congress in West Bengal or Congress in Kerala.
To have any organizational structure come in the way of as an impediment to further expansion and further broad-basing of the process, that will be incorrect, and that will actually play as an impediment. Right. Or our Politburo decision does not negate in any way the possibility and the actual occurring of the consultation between parties. Because there are differences, that is a reality.
The ruling TMC in West Bengal has often accused the CPIM of helping the BJP in the state, alleging that the BJP has grown in the state at the cost of the CPIM and Congress.
আর এখন নতুন লাল হয়েছে, নতুন আবির মেখেছে, গেরুয়া একদিকে লাল একদিকে, মানে সিপিএম কংগ্রেস আর বিজেপি এখানে লালে লাল হয়েছে, লাল হলুদ মিলে গেছে।
In the 2021 assembly elections, while the CPIM and the Congress were reduced to 0 in Bengal, the BJP climbed to 70 plus seats, reiterating what is described as Bam Theke Ram or left to Lord Ram political shift amongst its supporters. The Trinamool Congress says the CPIM is in no position to fight the BJP in Bengal. Trinamool National General Secretary Abhishek Banerjee said, in the fight against BJP, we have invited all like-minded opposition parties to join the fight. And what the CPIM says is their own issue. The BJP says the alliance is doomed to fail as there is no ideology or principle binding it together.
देखिए जो सो कॉल्ड इंडिया गठबंधन है, इसको हम लोग घमंडिया गठबंधन कहते हैं, तालमेल का कोई प्रश्न नहीं उठता है, सब दिखावा के लिए। जो 25-26 पार्टियां हैं, 25-26 पार्टियां, 25-26 तरह के विचार हैं कि जो सीपीआई के सीपीएम के लोग हैं, जो लेफ्ट पार्टी के लोग हैं, उनका मत टीएमसी के साथ नहीं मिलता है। जिस तरह के सीपीएम ने अपने पार्टी के अंदर निर्णय लिया है, कई पार्टियां आने वाले भविष्य में इंडिया से अपने आप को अलग हटाने का काम करेंगे।
The Congress is downplaying the issue.
राष्ट्रीय स्तर पे आप एक साथ लड़ाई करने के लिए ये सरकार के खिलाफ एक्शन लेने के लिए तैयार है।
While some believe it's part of strategy on the India alliance's part to not officially announce an alliance in politically volatile states like West Bengal, political observers are also of the opinion that this announcement by the CPIM will eventually add fuel to the Trinamool's push for seat-sharing talks, and it will also put the Congress in a position where it has to choose between the CPIM and the Trinamool as an alliance partner in West Bengal. With Himanshu Shekhar Mishra in New Delhi and camera person G.D. Shankar in Kolkata, Saurabh Gupta, NDTV.
So, well, hectic political developments in a crucial election year, but some tragic news now coming in from Jammu and Kashmir. The body of a fourth soldier who had gone missing in the Gadol forest of Anantnag has been found, and now the death toll in that Anantnag anti-terror encounter has gone up to 4. This as 6 days and counting. That anti-terror operation in Anantnag continues, extremely challenging and uphill battle for the security forces. Earlier, 3 senior officers had lost their lives fighting from the front.